93rd. 24 hours of Le Mans is underway. The two Cadillacs off the front row of the grid go toe-to-toe up towards turn one. On the inside line, Albamba. On the outside line is Will Stevens. Stevens tries to brave it out on the outside line. He's just got his nose in front as round the outside as welcome Julian Andlauer in the Porsche. Cadillac side by side for the lead. It's going to be Will Stevens ahead of Albamba. Third is Andlauer. There was a good start being made by Kevin Magnussen, but cars all over the curb. They rattled their way then for the first time down through the Dunlop S's. Cadillac leads Le Mans. Porsche goes second. The flag is waved from the LMP2 and then the GT3 cars. Aston Martin leading, BMW leading, Ferrari leading, Mercedes-AMG in the LMGT3 class. That's some pretty feisty racing for the first few corners, Graham.
Well, it certainly was. I think a bit of contact there in the middle of the pack or towards the back of the pack in Hypercar. One of the Peugeots, I think, involved in that. We'll catch up with that as things settle down in about 25 hours.
So down the Mulsanne straight then they come for the first time, and you can see everybody on their toes looking for track position side by side for the lead, and Julian Andlauer goes through into the first chicane round the outside. So Cadillac led for about a quarter of the lap, but here, Peter Dunbrett, Julian Andlauer is on a mission.
I do wonder whether the Cadillacs worked their tyres hard enough on that outlap, because you could see the Porsche visibly side to side really working the tyres, and the Cadillacs were very stationary in a straight line. So
side by side, Peter, between the number 8 Toyota and one of the factory Ferraris, with the 83 just behind. So these are cars we do expect to be in the hunts. There goes the 83, looking to make the move, and does so.
Late on the brakes, wasn't he there, diving into the corner. Phil Hansen at the wheel of 83, the bright yellow Ferrari. And there, look, you've got the battle going on between number 99, Neil Jani at the wheel, and the Aston Martins. There, look, you've got Porsche number 5 then in the middle of the traffic. That's Julian Andlauer, the race leader, trying to wriggle his way through the forward chicane. You want to clear that traffic as quickly as you can.
And he's doing that very well as he clears the first batch of traffic, crosses the line, 4.1 seconds to good, and he's catching another great big batch on the straight, which again Peter Dunbrett will help him in this battle to keep cars and space between him and the pursuing Cadillacs.
And there, look, hypercars getting past traffic, but also in the middle of all of that, you've got Chris Froggatt trying to battle against that Mercedes. Lucas Stoltz is the Mercedes AMG driver. Look at the background, you've got silver Mercedes, orange and white Ferrari side by side. Lucas Stoltz on the inside. They're going to carry on battling all the way down the Mulsanne straight. The two Cadillacs have got themselves together, Stevens and Bamba nose to tail. So right now, down through that first chicane, it is an incredibly busy racetrack, and if you're in the GT class trying to have your own battle, the last thing you need is a hypercar come whizzing by. You've got to be so sharp here, Peter. Getting a replay of the start of the race. You saw Roger Federer wave them away, but as the two Cadillacs were busy squabbling, round the outside went Julian Andlauer, and he got track position then going into the first of the Dunlop S's, and look, so much better off the corner to go around the outside there.
Yeah, just tyres immediately there for him, and we've not seen him look back since. You know, you can see the Cadillac struggling for grip on the exit, the rear of the car moving around a bit into the traction control, and the Porsche just getting the foot down and driving out the corner. So that's been, I suppose, the biggest surprise for me so far is the ultimate race pace of the Porsches. In qualifying, they weren't anything special, but they're certainly looking very special in the race.
That was Andlauer getting the race lead, coming down to first of the chicanes. We're getting pit stops from LMP2 already. Drivers staying in the cars. Andre Lotter, for example, stays behind the wheel, keeps the same set of tyres, and that was the reaction from Porsche. Julian Andlauer put the car into the lead of the race. Replay of the LMP2 start. Matthias Besch going toe-to-toe on the run-up towards the first corner with Tom Dillman. The GT battle in the background. This is how Mathieu Drudy got the class lead. And the start on board with Louis Delatraz coming out of the chicane, over the line, and blasting on up towards the first corner. The outside line having the grip on it, but Delatraz being able to slot in front of the Inter-Europol competition car, hanging on to that place as they come through that first sequence of corners, the Dunlop S's. In LMGT3, good getaway by Mathieu Drudy. He was well clear of the opposition when they got to the line and was able to keep that class lead all the way to the first round of pit stops. Felipe Nasr, and off the road there, look, goes 22. David Heinemeier Hansson has had a spin, and he's going to try to rejoin and cause his people to scatter, and spins again, and there's another car that's had a spin in the middle of all of that, and that's the Chris Froggatt Ferrari. So have they got themselves together? That rejoin by Heinemeier Hansson was a bit risky, to say the least, was it? Trying to spin turn the car in front of more traffic. Let's see what happened. There, up the inside goes the United Autosports Oreca, bang, into the back of Chris Froggatt. So that was the first incident that Heinemeier Hansen had. Look, Chris Froggatt gets a rude welcome to Le Mans as the Ziggo Sport Tempesta Ferrari gets turned around. And you can see the amount of tar smoke. David Heinemeier Hansen trying to get the car back in the right direction. The adrenaline is pumping and pumping. He wants to rejoin as fast as, and did so, but caused more people to scatter in avoidance. There's the incident again.
I think he'll take a penalty for that as well.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's causing a collision, surely. But look, here he is, wants to get going. Here's the traffic, and he just...
Yeah, that's definitely unsafe rejoin.
We're working lap number 14 here, and great battles going on. Look, between Porsche and Toyota. Oh, so close as Mike Conway tries to clear Felipe Nasr. Nasr on the inside, Conway on the outside, and they've got traffic up the road. Just able to dive past the Corvette, but that was brave racing, Peter Dumbrek.
Yeah, you can see them get very close. Of course, you get the side draft, so the overtaking driver does want to get as close as possible to the other car because you can side draft up beside them.
Oh, and a big slide there from the Peugeot that goes off the road. Caught out by the air in the traffic and heading towards the tyres. Yes, big contact. Bodywork flies, wheel off. And there is your first major drama of the race. It's 93 Peugeot. It is Paul de Resta at the wheel of it.
Yeah, unfortunately, you could see him have a big moment, and then the GT car in front went to take the line. Paul just had nowhere to go around the outside, and when you get into the gravel at that speed, then yeah, you're only going one place, and that's into the wall.
So Paul de Resta is going to have to come into the pit lane. It was quite a whack. He was lucky in a sense that he was able to continue, lucky that it came at the end of the lap, but that again is just not what the teams need, and out of nowhere, Johnny, things could just bite you.
Yeah, it looked like the bump had settled the car, and unfortunately the car was there and he had to avoid.
Right, it's dragged down the pit lane. Let's listen in.
What was I supposed to do there? Yeah, Paul, update on the car. Update on the car. How is the car looking?
The car is not looking good. Chances are not looking good. This is set to be a long pit stop, I fear. Just look at the damage in the back of that, Peter Dumbrek.
Yeah, we're going to see that car push back into the pits.
As we could see, and here we've got the board coming into our feet because we're right in the middle of action. But also the front right of the car is damaged, so we're going to replace both the rear cover and the front. And this car will be sent back. The tire seems to be okay, but I think the team will just take the opportunity to put a new set of tires and probably fuel. That's it. Back to you in the booth.